Pardon me, but I gotta get serious for a moment. I'm gonna share this message with you, and it has to do with one of my favorite entertainers who we lost over 10 years ago, and the tendency that we have to um, really not completely understand a lot of people in the entertainment industry and people in general. And sometimes someone comes along, blows our minds. Sometimes there are people out there who can relate to them as far as what they do in entertainment. I'll just say the name because it's okay. Mr. Williams. Yeah. Mr. Robin Williams. Now, he, in his ways, was so entertaining. He was actually rather outrageous in his comedy, right? That's basically outrageous comedy that he was mostly known for, in addition to his good straight edge, straight serious and deep emotional, sad. He did some melancholy characters in movies and so forth, and he was really good. So comedy, melancholy, sort of a dramatic melancholy sort of moments, and then he also had um a really good balance at times. But honestly, I know what it was that took him from us. It was that he had a severe bout with bipolar disorder, and it really robbed him of his well-being, mentally, emotionally. It destroyed him. He was, and I get what had happened. I just didn't really realize how serious it was. I thought that, oh, he's a professional. He's so good at what he does. He's got it totally under control. And as it turns out, I underestimated the problems he was facing. And man, I would love to have been able to do something, warn somebody to get a hold of him, or just see if there would be anyone who could have helped him. But maybe there was absolutely nothing we could do. I'll tell you what, I'm familiar with mental health issues. I personally have come to a point, I believe I've gotten very stable by comparison to where I've been in the past and even in the last several months. And I'm improving in my stability, except I fight it. I'm not naive enough to think it's going to be a dead, defeated enemy. It basically is part of a human being when they have certain health conditions. Many times we just can't get completely rid of it. We have to keep it under control. It's like a person out there, like an enemy, who you just kind of keep your distance from, but still you encounter that person. And a lot of times our own self is like another person, in a way. Our mental health, when we suffer, that's a lot of it is self, right? And our physical health is self. Pretty much, I don't know. I have a thing about identity. I got my own thoughts on it. I won't go into detail, but I consider self and the core of who we are to be separate, like it's our spirit, and then our self is basically um, the body, and it's when the body has a mind of its own is basically what self is. Being selfish, when you care more about pleasure and how you feel and so forth. But I'm not here to preach on that. I'm not going to go on. I just want to get into some things and just put a lot of thoughts out there. And I didn't write this down, so that's why it's just going to come out, And if it sounds disorganized, that's how it is, and I could put it together later. But I don't intend to be a teacher or give lectures or anything. I'm not a licensed therapist or anything. I'm just somebody who has a lot of knowledge and understanding, and I figure things out very well. I've had to by necessity. I can't tell you just how bad it's gotten, but it's really gotten pretty bad. There's many people who have gotten it worse than me, and many people have not nearly as bad, but whatever. I'm pretty much around the median of the health and the intellect, physical well-being, and so forth. Honestly, I have almost nothing to complain about. As far as, did I get a raw deal? I seriously, once I get the money matters to where I've got that under control, I'll pretty much have my entire life well. So I'm basically to that point where I'm about to take on that as my next major project. So I started talking about Robin Williams, bipolar, and then went into mental health and schizophrenia. Basically, my situation, and it kind of relates because you get so emotional, and with the type of creativity he has, I have some of it, and people who know me have seen just a little bit of that, but he was very out there. He got it to work for him. But the problem is, it's like he used a problem in his life to bring his fame and fortune. If he had a fortune, I don't know if he did or not. But he was very famous and very well loved. So fame and appreciation for the person, very well known and loved, popular, I guess. Breaks my heart to see a man go through that. And when I was in 8th grade, I was starting to realize I could go on to write. I mean, I had the talent to write rap lyrics as a white boy in 1990-91 and do a pretty good job. I don't know too many people who could have. I mean, there's people all over the place that do real well at it. I don't know the people personally that could have done a whole lot better, but there are many out there, right? I mean, I'm not saying, but as far as a pretty nerdy white kid growing up, I mean, gosh, that was when Vanilla Ice came out with Ice Ice Baby, and I know I sound like I'm going all over the place, but it's creativity. And I won't lie to you, because he was very inspiring, Vanilla Ice. He was, I mean, dude, he really had a groove. That song, Ice Ice Baby, was actually quite brilliantly written. Very good job on that song. It's just that he did not stay with the trends for very long. Marky Mark came out about a year later, and whatever. He did okay, but really, Mark Wahlberg is much more famous as an actor. But what I'm saying basically is, so we've got all these creative talents and people who are really good, and I have a little bit, but not enough to really make it. And I didn't go with it. And also, my community I grew up in was not real friendly with that. They weren't encouraging at all. And wow, you get your ass kicked with the way I acted a lot of times. And I got quite ostracized. They did that instead of kicking my ass. They figured they had to work a way around it. And I know why they had to, and I'm not going to go into that. They ganged up on me, and they hurt me. But that's what I went through back then. I didn't start writing rap lyrics in 8th grade. And what I didn't overcome, that had I overcome, I probably could have had a successful career, is one major thing. I was too ashamed. I had enough of my own shame not to try to be that. And because I was taught that at that time, no, man, just get a job, go to college, get a degree and be successful. Damn it. No, I wish I wouldn't have tried, because I did not do that at all. And I ended up giving up for nothing. And the other thing, this could be a very long video, but anyway, I conformed is basically what went wrong. I conformed to that personality of just the normal, practical, whatever. And I was boring, so I didn't entertain very well. I've had a tough time of it, but I've realized that I don't know if I even have what it takes, but I really wish I would have tried. I'd like to go back and change that. But I did a little bit, realized I had lots of potential, and then I stopped. My health suffered as a result of it. What the hell? Drove me crazy, but Well, I might attach another video to this. I'm just going to keep on going for a minute here. But basically, so what this is all about is mental wellness, mental health, wellness, and whatever, emotional and mental well-being, and how it relates to creativity. And currently, I'm not concerned with algorithm getting big on social media or anything. I'll just put out these messages and let you people know. And rather than push to get outside of who I am, to be something I am not already, in a vain attempt to try to be better at what I'm not all that good at, I'm going to be myself and just relax and be quite comfortable. Because maybe some of these people try too hard and make the problem into a solution, but then they forget it's still a problem. Like if a frog takes a ride across a pond or whatever, or some shallow water but too deep for the frog. I don't know. I don't quite get that story, but it's about the fox comes along and offers to let the frog sit on his head, and the fox will just walk across because he's taller, right? And frogs are amphibians, so I don't know why that'd be an issue. But the frog didn't have any lily pads, so he sits on the head of the fox. But he made the fox promise him he wouldn't eat him. So they get about half to 3/4 of the way across the pond, and the fox decides, I'm pretty hungry and you're looking pretty tasty. Frog says, but you said you wouldn't eat me. Fox says, but I'm a fox. That's what I do. Basically, I lied. You can't trust a fox. You can't trust someone who's capable of hurting you, whose general nature is to hurt you, with the means to hurt you. You can't trust them. You just can't allow them. And I hope that somebody, or I hope that many people learn this, that you're playing with fire when you're using mental illness or chemicals, like, substances that kind of make somebody think, act, and feel a bit different than who they are and what they are, in order to try manipulating them for creativity. That's really what the witchcraft of it is, and it will come against you. Pharmaceuticals, drugs, chemicals. I mean, comes from witch doctors, and I'm sorry, but that's really what it is. And so if someone can get through their life and being healthy without medicine, sometimes things can't be avoided, but some things, maybe they can. I would say just be as natural as possible with as healthy a food as possible. Dietary supplements and whatnot. And if you don't need other stuff like medicines, I'm not a doctor, but I'll say, just from my own personal experience and from my own opinion, whether or not it's okay I say this, I'm just going to say, I really like the idea of not taking medicine if it's not needed. But I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling anybody what to do. But my thought, and that's what, having said it now, hey, I'm not pushing. You do what you do. You don't be putting any of it on me, because I'm telling you straight up, this is a disclaimer. I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor, but I'm someone who basically knows the Lord Jesus Christ and has experienced a lot. And as I've gotten better in my life, and it's from getting closer to God and getting to know Him, things get out of hand when I don't obey Him quite as much. But I'm not here to preach on that either. I get real emotional a lot of times when talking about God. He means so much. He's amazing. And I barely know much, but I'm blessed and I know a lot. A lot more than I used to. He's so good. Our God is an awesome God. And like I said, I'm not worried about algorithm. Otherwise, I'd have to watch out for talking religion, politics, and mental health. But we are in an age of, with the social media we've had, so many people have put up posts about their mental health challenges, struggles, and what they go through. And then solutions. But what we really need to be at is a stage of living life without the problems, living life with solutions that are not there because someone wants to make money off us. I'm sorry. But we've been there for a long time. We need to get out of there. So be very careful, because what some people think they can use to their advantage ends up destroying them. One moment. The water's good. And so, as long as we have our core values and are really most concerned with our best interest, stability versus success, because sometimes they can. If you do something that's not safe enough in order to succeed, you play with fire and you fail by way of instability. And I think that's what's happened to a number of people, famous and otherwise, rich and otherwise, all walks of life. When people, not that they do it on purpose or don't try hard enough, sometimes, in fact, they get tricked and they don't know better, but some things just get the best of them. A lot of it has to do with frustration. I know I went through a heck of a, I'll say it, I went through hell. I went through a hell of a lot of frustration as a child, and it was a weakness of mine. I didn't do well, and that started to confuse me looking for solutions. And I had a sort of schizophrenia because I was afraid of failure and so forth. These things go together much more than I realized. It's not just a chemical imbalance, but it's a way of life and what we've learned and how we're living our life. And we get these things straightened out. We unravel them and we can get pretty straight. So sometimes maybe more than we realize. Maybe more than I realize, maybe not as much, but I think we can conquer mental illness much better by taking proper care of ourselves and not trying to get ourselves ahead or higher, be impatient, try to do better than we can. We got to be real patient, calm, and focused, and determined, and strong, and stable. We need help from one another. And if we can get what we need to take care of ourselves and basically meet all our basic needs and so forth, work on how to keep ourselves in good mental condition, because mental health can suffer when we're frustrated and proud. Pride leads to the fall. It really does. Pride before the fall, man. We can manipulate our abilities to get us money, use our creativity to make people laugh and enjoy our entertainment, and lose sight of how it's affecting our own mind. And that has happened way too many times. I caught it. I would love to be a big musician, rock star, whatever. But I have to accept that I'm not. And actually, I've been told by many people over the years, don't pursue that dream. Instead, just be who you are and live your life and take care. Be happy with the basics and be grateful. So that's been much healthier. And people who hurt me back in the day, who I forgave completely this summer, well, I forgave and I got a whole lot healthier for it. So it's like 20 minutes. I'll just stop here.